Huzur, a lot of non-Muslims, they attack Islam that it has given women less rights than men. And they present as an example the fact that the Holy Quran, number one, gives women half share in inheritance than that of men. And number two, they sometimes also cite the verse which says that at the time of death, if all male witnesses cannot be made available, then one man and two women should act as witnesses. And therefore they equate.
Would you refer to this verse, quote this verse?
Yes, sir.
Please. But let's first finish the first question. We'll come to it later on. ये वही रखते हैं, मैं ऊपर बैठा हूँ ना, कुरान के नीचे नहीं रखना चाहिए. As far as the first question goes, let's first analyze who objects and what is his position. Either religious people can object, they have a very definite position, and they can have only right to object if they present a better teaching in that regard. Or the irreligious people can object, so their position also will have to be sought out. As far as the religious people are concerned, here mostly they are Christians. So first of all they should tell us how, in what manner Christianity treats women better in the law of inheritance. I don't see any such reference in Bible which treats women even half as much as Islam treats them, or 1/10 as much. So if they are religious people, they have no leg to stand upon as far as their objection to Islam is concerned. In no other religion, as far as I know, ladies have been given any right of inheritance. And when I say that after having read some. I cannot claim, having read every religion or every religion which I read most consummately, but to my knowledge, there is no mention of women's rights in this regard in any religion whatsoever. So, as far as the religious world goes, Islam is the benefactor, because all the religious people who could object against religion, having discriminated against women, Islam can come forward and say, no, we have mended the previous omissions, and now we have started treated women differently from the previous religions. So no religious person has any right, if he is truly religious and he belongs to his religion, to object against Islam. Now before coming to the philosophy, now I'll turn to the non-religious cultures. Here in this Western culture, it is not, let's say, a Christian culture, but a Western culture. They don't give even women the right of inheritance. Not to mention women, they deprive even younger sons of this right of inheritance and give everything to one single person who is the eldest, who happens to be the eldest. So, what manner of objection they have against Islam? While they themselves have deprived not only women but also younger sons. So, Islam stands out in equitable distribution, not only equitable distribution but wise and very considerate distribution of wealth. Now when I say wealth, inheritance is a part of it. It is the whole Islamic system of distribution of wealth in which the laws of inheritance stand as one section. Now what is the philosophy? The philosophy can be only understood by understanding the system of responsibilities in Islam. Islam relieves women of certain responsibilities. So it would have been a very unjust Islam if Islam would load man with greater responsibilities and provide him with less. Relieve women of certain responsibilities, financial responsibilities, and give women equal share as those of men. That would be an unjust treatment. Because in the running of homes, the responsibility for looking after not only the children but also the wives is the responsibility of men. And whatever women have of their own, they are not bound by Islamic system to spend on their children by way of maintenance. It's their choice. They can spend on their parents entirely, or their sisters or brothers, whomsoever they please. But legally they are not bound to maintain the family, while it is the responsibility of men alone to maintain the family. So in view of this, one could only object that Islam has been too lenient to women in the law of inheritance. Maybe 1/10 was enough in this case. So the over leniency is being objected to as stringency and constriction. This is not at all justified. Now, the philosophy I have explained. In view of this philosophy, the objection cannot be raised against Islam from any point of view, from any angle. The irreligious society or religious society, both must give way to this superior philosophy, because once the responsibilities are distributed, then the distribution of wealth would go accordingly in harmony with that distribution of responsibilities. Otherwise it would be an ugly religion which would ignore harmony. The second question, please.